Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing in this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos, welcome. Welcome back if you have. My intention is unity and oneness and the highest levels of love light. I am just going to go into a little flow. This video I'm actually just making for myself, yet I'm giving this introduction because I may feel called to share it. I do driving meditation, walking meditation, a form of it. I wouldn't say it's going into the deepest levels, but I just get a lot of downloads and activations when I drive, and so here we go. Some of this will be light language. It's not necessarily meant to be understood on a linear basis, although we'll see what comes through. Light language. Shuku waya she na moko dia na shitini bai waha shuku na dia waha shit na mako ha na ne shena biao kutia he shene bai kwa ya no ku shene ha ya I shi ya a kun ha e shena ya shota I ku ya mo shena tikia he shena mako na e shit a kuna. And as we come together in these rare forms, if you will, as we begin to accumulate our density and frequencies, as we begin to pull together the strings of consciousness, the stirrings of consciousness, as we begin to physiological, so I'm seeing philosophy and philosophia, Jill. Philosophy and physical. We pull together all of these realms and essences of consciousness. We begin to feel a recognition, a pattern that grows within the physical realm. For we are each growing our physical realm, if you will. I'm seeing those little, what are those little creatures that you drop in the water and they expand? Sea monkeys. We begin to create our templates, our new structures, our patterns, and we reorganize the structure that we are creating from within, for all is a combination of all things. So we begin to catalyze and import into us, into our being, that which is of the highest importance, and we dance with more. We begin to reorganize the scattered frequencies, and we begin to signify to certain attributes what it is that we are seeking to combine with. We begin to send out our signals. We move out of atrophy. We move out of entropy. We move into negentropy, and we move from negative to positive and create the combination of the charge. I'm hearing latchkey frequency. For this latch and key combination frequency set creates a merge or a portal, if you will. It allows you to latch into, combine with, and create from an abundance of signature frequency codes and patterns that redirect the organization of the schematic symmetry that is so built, that is being built, that is sown and built, SEWN and SOWN, sonar, sown and built, from where you are standing now. For many do not realize the resolution they are looking through. They do not necessarily see the various conjunction points that are held within this directory, within these schematics. So while we are creating in real time, we are creating real time. We are creating a new frequency of time. And because of this, we are blowing out that which has been kept in order based on the old order of things. Yet the idea of this new order, this is a play on words. I'm talking about multiple dimensions here, so we can fill in the blanks. Some of this is referred to as a negative thing, but this is not what's being referred to right now. It's literally that we are creating a new order in the way things work, not the new earth, new, what other people are talking about. This is parallel to it, is what I'm hearing. For we are the ones creating the keys. We are the ones creating the new parallel realities and harmonics that have previously been put into division through divisive schemes and schematics and antics that no longer fit the shoe. I'm hearing shoehorn. For we are blowing a new horn. We are blowing a new temporal structure that exists within this new encasement of our reality structure. And I'm hearing point in case. This is all a play on words. We are no longer held within the framework that may have been described or descriptively overridden by the past small percentage of society that no longer holds the same bar. For we have raised the bar, we have raised the standards, and we are in the process of seeing this ripple back to us in time. For we have focused our point in a place, space, and time in the future. This future is calling to us and pulling us forward as we create within this framework of the future that is now. For many of us have come back from this place in the future that is now, and we are stabilizing. We are the stabilizers. We are stabilizing as we begin to realize that our power is now, and I'm hearing our power is HOUR. For we are the lock. Oh, I'm hearing a lot of different things, so let me tune back in. I got distracted by the pretty Christmas lights. Our hour is now. Our hour is at hand. We are the ones that are, I'm hearing all, what is it, the clock tower? What's that song? All watch on the clock tower. For the idea or the ideologies that have been cold pressed into our reality, that have pressed hard upon the heart, that have made the heart cold for some, or that have been created by those with cold hearts, is no longer holding the same attributes. So we suggest quit playing the old songs, the old ideologies with the old add-ons, for we are no longer fitting within that symmetry. It is no longer simultaneous, simultaneous, play on words. We are being called forward. We are being called, I'm hearing, back to the land before time. We are being called back to our roots. And as we acknowledge more of what the deeper truth root is, we allow this to ripple out as a pathway, as a path in our new society. For our sociological structures are crumbling. They have been self-defeated. The egocentricities, play on words, I'm seeing ego-centricities, are no longer able to hold back the influx of these now moment movie makers and shakers. Like, we are creating this movie, we are moving forward, lights are moving in stereo. I'm just seeing this welling up of energy, and it's coming from all angles. Like, I'm hearing that which was hidden is now found, and there will be more of this. there will be more of these statutes and statures that no longer hold the same stature that they once did. And this is an old system that was built on archaeological warfare. These archaeological war tactics held a particular ideology in place, and yet we have passed it. Our circumference has grown, and our circumstances are adjusting accordingly. From one perspective, this takes time. And for those that are weary travelers, I'm seeing a backpacker take their shoes off and sit by the river and rub their feet and sit down and just communing with nature and putting their feet in the river and letting the river just kind of wash away all of their sadness. Weary travelers, take a rest. Allow yourself to create from a restful, peaceful state of presence. For those who are creating from that space are far outweighing those that are not. For the deeper magic that is within the human expression and the human experience cannot be held back. It cannot be kept from itself. The ego is not the self. The ego is one aspect of the many. And yet there were many that created only from this aspect mixed with one might call heavy magical ideologies, or false fronts and landscapes, in other words, smoke and mirror deflection. And they caught our eye. They caught us in, I'm hearing, caught in a trap, I can't look back. We became ensnared by our own creations. We became ensnared by the creations of others that stated those were the only creations, and well, we'll speak more on that, but I'm seeing like we were also told these were not creations, that they were staples of our reality structure based on a longitudinally misrepresentation of the fabric of space-time and our reality structure. For it has been processed through the educational system for so long as a particular form of information that we have been taught to breathe into reality, for we are co-creating this reality together. And the more that we begin to understand that, the more the old reality constructs fall apart, because we no longer are co-creating from that false structure. And so all of the weird components that were utilized, I'm literally seeing illusion, magic, are now absurd for some. Others that have been, I'm seeing like people that took it as a staple and they've literally built their entire package around this, are really struggling and will continue to struggle with the new, this is a play on words, but I'm hearing regime and realm. So that's, I'll have to go back to that maybe when I type this up and play with it. For that which is being revealed proves without a shadow of a doubt that the shadow and doubt that has been seeking for our approval in order to prove it as truth is no longer applicable in the new terms. So this is a play on words. I'm hearing terminology, the new term, which is a time frame, the new vocabulary representation of how our reality works. And I keep coming back to rare form. So part of this has to do with things that don't make sense, things that are not linear, things that are rare metals. Like I keep hearing rare metals, rare crystals that are unexplainable based on our old explanations and theories of how reality works. For we are no longer working with the same modeling clay. For the old modeling clay has dried up and blown away. For what we are discovering is blowing it out of the water. Play on words. There's a lot going on underwater right now, from what I see in vision and meditation. And I'm just seeing under the sea, da 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 da. What is it? The Little Mermaid. But there's basic, and I'm also hearing a whole new world. So there are whole new worlds being discovered that are underwater. And this representation isn't just here on Earth. So we have been led to believe that our path of harmony is only that of disharmony, of chaos and pure disorder. Yet this was created in order to speculate about where we were headed. So what I'm seeing is a lot of this is a play on words, and I just want to kind of share a little overview of what I'm seeing, but I will do that at the end if I have time. What I'm hearing is our previous speculations did not allow for cross-examination, and that's a play on words. We were unable to compare and contrast for certain pieces of information that were scattered across the globe, were hidden, were kept under wraps. I'm going to go into a little more light language. Lost civilizations, lost languages, lost technologies that were merely put on the back burner in some cases and undisclosed in others for fear of the outburst of the community or society once they came together in togetherness. For when we keep the population in a place of separation and discouragement, discouraging others from asking questions or seeking words of encouragement, it only stimulates the distrust and lack of integrity that many of our systems were built upon. And this sounds like negativity that is being projected right now in this particular message. Yet we assure you this message is full of hope, and that is also a play on words, like not the old idea of hope that some people associate hope with. This message, better spoken, is full of subliminal connection points, nodes, and access points into a type of frequency and language that allows us to linguistically play with different points, spaces, and reunification with the recognition board in our consciousness and imagination. So when I use certain words, they sync up with certain timelines. They sync up with certain verbal frequencies, and that is something that I like to play with because it helps us go, what is that word? Where did that come from? What's the etymology? What's behind the word? The sound behind the sound. So what happens is there's been a lot of things, and there's this idea of the way things are going. There's a lot of fear that's being projected about all kinds of things right now. And what's happening is, what I'm being shown is there are enough of us who are centered, who are looking around and watching things and creating from a space of what one might refer to as hope, I call it peaceful progress. We're progressing and seeing that we are the ones that are responsible for creating our future. And so while we're still having these human experiences of sadness or frustration and all of these truths that are coming up that are being revealed to us, what I've written about, and I haven't posted all of this because a lot of it is for the future, and it's very difficult sometimes to, if you guys have ever watched my videos where I break down what I write, it's a lot. It's like a piece of information that's kept, like, I'll have a paragraph and I could spend an hour. In some cases, not necessarily with this video, but I can spend an hour going through where the different meanings are and what they represent sometimes. So I don't always share that. But my point in sharing this is that we're creating this in real time. Time has shifted and we are creating this energetic component that is highly accessible to those who are finding the opportunities to tune into this frequency. And it's coming from the heart. It's not only our connection to our heart, but it's the heart we're connecting to inside of Earth, inside of the other planets. All living things emanate or have a certain radiation or frequency. And we are truly creating from this higher baseline frequency. So what happens from one perspective is a lot of the things that were hidden, we didn't have access to. So it's not necessarily just because it was intentionally hidden from us. Some of it is because we were in a different reality. This is my perspective, guys, of course. I was shown that we were in a different timeline. And so when we were in that reality, those things weren't accessible, because it's like giving a child a toy like if you gave somebody a cell phone 50 years ago and didn't teach them how to turn it on, or taught them how to turn it on and only gave them one app to use. I just am sharing that I'm just being shown that a lot of this wasn't something that we had the comprehension, or not everybody, but as a collective. Collectively, the energetic frequency wasn't there in order to be given some of these, or in order to see, not even be given. It's like we were creating based on a particular timeline and reality, based on our frequency, and yes, it was monopolized. Our time, our energy, our focus and attention was monopolized and utilized by the way of subliminal, I'm hearing subliminality, subliminal reality, our television, our radio, our history. It all followed a particular narrative, but that is no longer applicable. It is no longer being applied in the same way, because we as a collective of humans are applying ourselves in a completely different harmonic. So being that we're in a different harmonic, there are things that we now can see, we can hear, we can feel that we couldn't before. Therefore, it gives us access to these other layers of ourselves, our subconscious, our creative aspects, our imagination. And believe it or not, I'm here, believe it or not, I'm walking on air. What's that song? Great American Hero. What's happening is we can fly, right? So we're like, wait a minute, I could fly this whole time. I'm not saying we can fly. Maybe down the road. I fly my dreams all the time. But it's like, wait a minute, this particle has been there the whole time and we're just now. So there's these ideas that we're discovering these new particles and we're discovering these rare metals. From one perspective, they've always been there. We just couldn't see them. We didn't have access to them. From another perspective, we did see some of these things. We did have access to them, but because of the narrative, we were told to look the other way. And so we never paid attention to them. They were put on a shelf. They were ignored. They didn't fit in the puzzle. From another perspective, both of those are true. From yet another perspective, because we're in a new harmonic, they are new. They weren't there before, because now the earth has raised its frequency and created this new rare metal, or this new technology that allows us to see what was already there. Or from another perspective, the old version of reality, we've shifted into a new version of reality. So that other stuff still exists, but now we have this new frequency, new reality that we're playing in that has that stuff and all this new stuff. I mean, I could go into all these different perspectives. I see things in bubbles, and I see how everything is connected. And so I see things sometimes as a bubble within a bubble. They're called subsets from one perspective. So there's a bubble. Here's our 3D. And now we're wrapped within the 4D that's wrapped within the 5D, yet they're all merged and working within these different frameworks of plasma and energy and vibration and sound and electricity, so on and so forth. So the more electrical we become, the higher we become, the higher speed we're accessing, the higher realms we access, and we all are working together with focused intent that allows us to see more. And that's it. So I'm going to end on that note because I have to run. So much fun. I guess I am going to post this. Thanks so much for tuning in and playing with me in this this frequency. I am there's a lot more I'll have to share, maybe perhaps in another video. Namaste.